Because I tell you, if I were Romy and Anita, we get out of that house, I'm going to be pressing charges. Okay, guys, how are we doing today? Welcome. You're all welcome here to this beautiful, beautiful space. Now, if you do not live in France and you're wondering why social media or TikTok has been, agog since, I'll say yesterday, I'll give you the whole lowdown. Now, in France, I chose to say this in English, but you could hear, you could probably hear a little bit of French. Please, ça fait partie du travail, hein, parce que moi, je suis bilingue. Il faut que je fais l'effort aussi de faire les vidéos en français. Alors, so, in France, they have what is called secret story, right? Now, this secret story is akin to Big Brother. So, like Big Brother house that they have all over the world, right? Like we also have Big Brother Niger and all that, right? So in France, they call theirs secret story, okay? Now, in this secret story, where are the names of those devils? Just give me a second. Okay, so now in this secret story, we have two black girls. Now, personally, I don't watch anything that has to do with reality TV. Especially all those house skinnies, just like this Love Island, I'm able to understand what's going on without being involved. I also know that like Olandria and all, I just get to pick and I know what's going on without being involved. Because like anytime I watch all those things, I feel like I'm losing brain cells. I swear, I'm not even playing. I feel like brain cells are like leaving my head and I need to preserve these brain cells because anyway. So now for the first time, again, one of the reasons I don't watch it is because, like everything in this country, unfortunately, we always have to see only a particular type of people, a particular skin color. So if you're not Caucasian, if you're not French, if you're not this, if you're not that, it's so boring. The Voice, Secret Story, there's another one called Mayor Candidate, so many of them. The only one that I've been able to attract my attention is the one where they do the rap. That I always get because that I am down for because again, it has a lot of diversity involved in it and that the chances of somebody who's not, of a black person actually, making something out of it is, amazing. Now, like I said, I don't watch any of those things because again, representation matters. So please do not be alarmed. Come back for this video because I may make it may be a 2-3 part video, right? It's because I want to finish it and I want us to talk about these shenanigans, right? So we have two beautiful girls, Romy and Anita, black queens, princesses, you name it. They got it all down to the T. And according to what we heard, they are amazing girls. They are really, really beautiful, lovely housemates. They cook, they do all those things. And of course, we all know that when you're in these houses, everyone gets to do, a part of what they are meant to do, chores, you name it. Now, you see, this thing makes me laugh all the time. Now, in that midst, we have, you guys, just give me a second, please. Now, in that midst, we have the names of, there's one called Marianne, there's one called Constance, and there's one called Pimpernel. Now, oh my God. You see me, I'm somebody that, I am so proud of being black, as in, you can't take it away from me. You see this thing, I am super proud of it that you can't even. I always feel like I get bragging rights on being able to talk about any human being just because of this beautiful skin that I got, this beautiful coloring, this beautiful shade, whatever you want to call it. You know what struck me? That one of the housemates that is bullying these girls Anyway, I don't, let me not go there yet. I'm going to put their pictures so you will see and decide for yourselves, because this is not going to go down just like that. Anyway, so we get Romeo and Anita, who begin to cry in the house, by nightfall. And so TikTok erupts and everyone goes gaga over the things that have happened and the fact that these girls were being bullied and being attacked racially. Now, this is an European thing and more so a French thing. And the stories that have come up regarding this and the issues that have arisen behind this, there are so many, and I can give you so many instances. This silent aggressions and this little violence, this unseen violence that exists in the things that are said, in the language use, how you are approached. It's only in this country, I will tell you. It's only in this country that somebody has seen me and has asked me, a white French person has felt it was okay for them to ask me how much I earn. Yeah. It's only, and you need to understand the level of audacity that that person has to have, right? To be able to do that. Please, you guys, pardon my hair. I straightened it and I just want it to be intact. The heat is too much. So I just wove it around my head. So it may look messy. Just pardon me. And these silent aggressions that exist in what is said. Now, let's go. Again, it's always the cliches. It's always those questions that should not be asked. And you have to also ask yourself the audacity to ask these questions. Why would you think it's okay to do that? Why would you think it's okay to say things like this and not get a response? Personally, I know that if I were watching that thing, I don't have the bandwidth, right, I don't have the bandwidth to be that patient. But I understood where Romy and Anita were coming from in the fact that they did not reply or they did not respond in the manner that is dean of an African. Because again, that's the thing about us. The way we respond and the way a Black person, right, generally will respond to certain things is not the same way that is done here. And because of that, right, the disparity and the language use, you hear things like you are aggressive, you are too, that you react too quickly, calm down. Meanwhile, the person telling you to calm down is actually the person who started the whole BS, right? So, like I was saying, the person who's telling you, calm down, take a deep breath, is actually the person that started the whole thing, right? And it's all happening because, again, there's this unwritten rule that it's okay for them to provoke you as a Black person, but it's not okay for you to respond. And for some reason, your response should not be in a certain way. And I want to say this, and for a lot of people who do not understand, anger is a valid emotion. Anger is a valid emotion. And I don't know where we all got this impression that, yes, you can always go for anger management classes, but it does not mean you can't get angry. It doesn't mean that you are not allowed to express anger the way you want to express it. It doesn't mean that. And you can actually express that you're angry without being violent about it. And it's a valid emotion. But you see, there's a proverb in Nigeria that we say it's like beating a child and telling the child not to cry. You don't do that, okay? And so we've got these girls, who decided that they were the creme de la creme, they were the crop of the top, they were the crop of the bunch, and that somehow, right, that they were they were deserving of this place than these two amazing, beautiful Black queens. You see, listen, one of the reasons that I come out and one of the reasons I walk the way I do, the way I talk, everything as a Black woman, is because I know who I am. And I have never been told otherwise. I have never been bothered about what another person looks like because I am okay with what I look like. I have never ever decided on my own that, oh, somebody is too dark. I have not done that because, again, like I said, we are all beautiful and we carry the DNA of civilization. You won't try. You carry the DNA of civilization and then somebody's going to make you feel less than. And I so thank my father for this because it was my dad. We're only two girls, right? And my dad, anyone seeing us, meeting us for the first time will always say, gosh, you've got so much confidence in you. It's not, I'm not it's just what it is. I don't even need to blow my horn or toot it. Anybody that knows me will tell you that. And I am that confident in myself, in my skin, in who I am. And I don't, and that is how, or that is why I live my life a certain way, right? Now, I want to go into this. Now, you see this issue of bullying from these girls, because we're also hearing that one of the girls, I think is Constant, happened to be a bully right from when she was younger. And I want to go back to the itty-gritty. Let's go back a little bit, because if I haven't experienced this, if my own, offspring hasn't, experienced this, I would have said, oh, maybe there's a little bit of exaggeration here, but it's not. And why I'm saying this is because most of these bullies that you meet, right? Many of them are women, one. Two, they have been helped along the way. They were, allowed to do that. I'll give you an example. When my kid was younger and he was in, nursery, kindergarten, he would come home every day with, scratches or crying that someone hit him, somebody did such and such and such to him. And again, if you're a Black parent who lives in France or any part of Europe, write it in the comment section below, because I know that many of you have experienced the same thing. And so he comes home and then we go to demand the school authorities, as in, why will my child be coming home from school upset? It's nothing, mais c'est rien, c'était juste les jeux entre les enfants, blah, 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 blah. Now in France, there's a written rule that if a child happens to hurt another child, that the child in question who hurts the child is not to be named or seen by the other parent. Yes, it's a written rule. You don't do that. So each time you come, you are not seeing the person who's being aggressive to your child. Okay, me as an African mother, you all know the answer. I'm not going to say it. You all know the answer to how we handle that. Exactly. Now, moving forward, immediately he was taught how to handle the issue. It stopped. So you see that it's not for nothing when, a bully, right, is actually now made to sit in their own, in your SHIT. It's not nothing, and they cannot react anymore. It's not nothing. It just shows that they actually have this false sense of being able to do what they are doing. And again, they are being helped. They are being encouraged to do that. Now, when the tables are turned and it is the child of an immigrant who's the person, probably not even the aggressor, right? They will write letters to the parents. They will call the parents to the school. They will do a lot of things. Meanwhile, the other child has been let off the hook. Again, what is the difference? The color of the skin. Okay? And meanwhile, bullying is bullying. Racism you see, racism is not something that you learn it, you teach it. Okay? And like it or not, these kids are watching. They see the preferential treatment that they are given for being bullies, and they keep doing it. Okay? My little cousin, the day I found out my little cousin was being bullied, I started crying because he refused to say anything. He was being bullied by girls and he refused to speak. What I noticed and what drew me in was because my cousin I saw, blue-black punch marks on his ribs. He was just 7 years old. He was just 7. I lost it. I flipped. And he did not want to say anything. I saw it and I asked him because I knew that if I went the way I was, he wasn't going to speak. So I calmed him down. I did, I petted him, got him things that generally you would not. And I asked him how it happened. The first thing he told me is, please do not tell my parents. That was the first thing he told me. He said, please don't tell my parents. I said, I promised him falsely. And he was like, please don't promise. And I promised. But I had to promise falsely, and I put my hand behind my back because I knew that I was going to break that promise to my cousin. And he told me that he was being bullied by girls. And I asked him, are they in his class? He said no, that they were in a bigger class. Now, my cousin has a mouth on him. He is not someone that is aggressive, but if you put him one-on-one, both of you are going to hash it out. That is him. So I knew that somewhere, one way or the other, and even in class, he was like that. The teachers will sometimes talk to him and expect him to start talking about his home, his family, his mother and his father in things that should not be discussed at school. I mean, other than, okay, what is your dad's profession? They always wanted him to say things, and he was very, very, very courageous and blunt to tell the teacher that is not the discussion I'm going to be having at school. That's my family business. That is my cousin. He's that person. And so when he had gone to bed, I called the mom and dad and I said, this is what is happening and it must be handled. So the whole thing that surrounded it, guess what? The teacher knew, because he always told the teacher that I am being bullied. And the teacher told him that you have a mouth on you. Why not? Yes, that was what the teacher told my cousin. Or am I going to talk about, again, let's come back here. And this, my cousin, it's not in France, right? So that just to tell you that this is a consensus you would actually find in other European countries. Like I said, whatever country you're calling from, or whatever country you're watching from, put it here in the comment section. I want to read your story. Now, some years back, again, in France, I'm raising my own offspring to have certain mannerisms. So like I said, I'm training my offspring to be very, very polite, and there are languages that are not used in the home. So my son goes to school one day, gets to school. They had a competition, and my son is very competitive. Had a competition, and the other team lost. And they were so happy that they won, and everyone was jubilating. Now, the child from another school in the other team says something very inappropriate to my son. My son now, I think he ignores him or something, or tells his teacher, I don't know. Now, the other school, the teacher comes over, right, to my son's teacher and talks about how ill-mannered my son is, how unbrought up he is. She doesn't know him. Never met him before. It was just a competition, kids. And how uncouth he is, blah, 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 blah. And his own class teacher goes ahead to reprimand him for something he did not do. My son came home from school that day. Because at the school, if you asked anyone about my son, they'll say, oh God, in French they'll say c'est un enfant bien épanoui, and c'est vrai, But my son came back home from school. Il est rentré de l'école ces jours-là. Il était déprimé. I'd never seen my child that way, and my heart broke. My heart caught. I asked him. I said, what's going on? Qu'est-ce qui se passe? And he talked about what happened. And I'm like, what? Again, the emotion my child carried home, I've never seen it before. And so the next day, we fly to the school. Now, each time there has been any of these issues, I am that mom. I am a mama bear. I am at the forefront of it because I don't give a flying hoot. I must get to the bottom of the reason why my child has an injury, whatever. I must get to the bottom of it. And I will drop my warning before I leave. And so, getting there, I met the teacher. I called her. I said, Madame, mais qu'est-ce qui s'est passé hier? Dites-moi. Et elle a commencé à me raconter les histoires. Tu sais ce qu'elle a dit? Elle a dit je lui ai demandé, mais pourquoi vous étiez OK que cette personne qui connaît pas mon fils du tout a droit de parler dans cette façon envers mon enfant. Et vous étiez là et vous avez rien fait parce que moi, dans ma tête, c'est vous qui êtes les représentants de l'école. Les enfants sont les représentants de l'école. Alors, si les enfants font les bêtises dehors, c'est l'école, en fait. Tu vois? Et elle m'a dit oui. Et à la base, mais j'ai dit, mais pourquoi vous étiez OK, vous étiez d'accord avec ce qu'elle a dit? Et elle m'a dit que c'est parce que pendant le récré, elle voit toujours mon enfant en train de bagarrer avec les autres enfants. Ah! I said, are you serious, madam? Only. She said, yes. I said, auntie. No. Kobosio, no, it doesn't work like that. I now sat her down. I said, if you want, we can go to the director's office. Let's sit down and talk this out. I gave my child express permission. He has no right to touch anybody. He has no right to look for anybody's trouble. He has no right to do anything to anybody. I gave him express permission to do that. I said, that must be clear. You must never, ever, hit the first stone. Never. But if somebody does it to you, right off way. I didn't mince words, and I told her. By the time that meeting was over, she was like, oh, she's so sorry. I said, no, aside from that, I want to go further. I said, you see this child here? At home. There are things he doesn't do, and he knows. There are words he can never use, and he knows. He knows what is going to land him in. It doesn't happen. It doesn't fly. So if for the whole time he has been at this school, only with you, and you are telling me that my son said, I said, no, I know the person. I know what I am doing. I am that mother. And she goes, okay, and she's sorry. By the time that she's going to go and look for him, she's going to apologize. She's going to do this. Yes, that is the ecosystem. So bullying, apparently, again, by French law, bullying is punishable by law. But I realized that bullying is only punishable when the skin color is not the same. If the skin color is the same, if the skin color is different, it's not punishable by law. Now, I want to go back to racism. Now, these girls made very pointed statements. They used words like, they talked about hair. Again, I don't know how many of you, but in a black woman's life, you never address her hair. You don't address what a woman is wearing. You don't address you don't address it. Whoever you think you are is not done. It's a no-go area. It's taboo. Because our hair has a lot of cultural connotation. Every style, everything you see on that hair has a meaning. There is a mood. There is something responsible for it. There is an era we are getting into. Her hair is a no-go area. They talked about her hair. They called her a gangster. Again, a cliche, okay? This is a perceived prejudice, right? That she used on her. The way they spoke, the way they did this, Let me tell you guys a story. It's only in this country I've ever seen a people, and I've said it before on my YouTube channel, it's only in this country I've ever seen a people who cannot speak more than the language that they were born with, but find it very easy to mock people who make the effort, or other people who are speaking a language that they have no clue about, and talk to them about accent. It's only in this country. Listen, I'm a professor, so I know what I'm talking about. There was a time it happened in a class I was teaching, and I walked because the student began to laugh at the other student who was making the effort, because we was part of their curriculum. Because it's important that they're able to make the effort. And I told her, I said, please, out of my class, many students go through this. They go through shame at the hands of teachers. They go through bullying at the hands of teachers. And so automatically they are teaching the students as well, who pass it on to their fellow students. Most French people will never ever dare speak English. No matter how small, they will never dare, because already they have been condemned and they had been mocked and bullied from when they were kids up until they got. So for them, they don't dare try it. Only in this country, for a people who have never made that much of an effort before in their life, they are very good. Mocking, they are good at it. And then you open your mouth and you look at those two gorgeous girls and you open your mouth and talk to them about the way they speak. Have you heard the way you speak, honey? Have you listened to yourself and how you speak? Now, again, like I said, this video is going to go into many parts. So please stay tuned, because it's something we have to delve into, right? Now, I want to go over to what happened at the house again. Now, by Sunday, the production team of Secret Story and the channel called TFN that is airing it called a meeting and decided they were going to talk about the atmosphere in the group. But guess what? No names were called. Nobody was punished. Nothing. It's like we are supposed to like swallow it and get it moving. Now, do you understand? When I now started the story from the school, do you now understand how it is playing now? Because this is the usual solution. Automatically, we were all blind. We were all stupid. We didn't see what we saw. We were only overreacting. Do you see that? So nothing was named. Nobody was put on blast. Those girls are still in the house. And at the same time, we are all preaching that bullies have no place in society. Because I tell you, if I were Romy and Anita, we get out of that house, I'm going to be pressing charges, because the whole world was a witness. Again, you allow bullies to stay on TV. What does that say? That they are allowed. That you tolerate bullying. You allowed racists to be on TV. What does that say about production and the whole society? That it's okay. That's what you actually are saying. It's okay. This same issue happened. Like I said, remember there were certain statements I made at the beginning of the video. I don't watch any of those things because I've never seen anything that has been representative of me or people that I know. I don't bother with them at all. The Voice, whatever, I don't bother with them, because you see through the BS very quickly. Once I look at all the competitors or the contestants and I've not seen anybody that has the same skin tone as I am, I'm out of there. Once I look at again and I now see that the black person is now in competition with a white person, I get out of there. Again, last year or early this year, a girl, beautiful girl called Chloe, everybody knew. Everybody knew. Again, the same production company, TFN. Right? Everybody knew that girl was meant to win. But what happened? It was racist attacks. Now, in the midst of that racist attacks, they now started asking the television company, how is it that they allowed it to happen? Have they not allowed this one to happen? That is the cure. Blow over it, breeze over it. We are stupid. We didn't see what we saw. And again, like I said, if it was Romy and Anita that did what they did in that house, they would have been expelled from there. They would have been expelled from there. But because it wasn't them, because they did not retaliate, because they kept their calm, those girls are still there. And our children are supposed to be watching, teenagers, when I mean teenagers, are supposed to be watching that. And they're going to think that it's okay, that bullying is allowed, bullying is okay. That's what it's going to come down to, that it's okay. You see that? And so I'm asking myself, so who are the people that are supposed to, the law that was created against racism and bullying has a certain color, has a certain demographic. But unfortunately, it is not the demographic that does the bullying that gets punished. It's not. So again, what are we doing? But I'm going to finish up on this note. I believe and I think that as Black people, especially in Europe, we stay too silent. You see, this country is a country that believes in record keeping, trace statistics. They do that a lot. And as long as every time we have cases of racial abuse and bullying, and as Black people and Black women, we are not at the forefront of getting justice for ourselves, getting justice how we know how, they will never, ever believe. It will never, ever, ever. It is known, but it will always never be named because we are not pressing charges enough. Because I tell you, if I were Romy and Anita, we get out of that house, I'm going to be pressing charges because the whole world was a witness. The whole of France and Belgium and every French-speaking European country was a witness to complete racial bias and bullying that took place on that show. If I were them, I get out of there, I am definitely going to be pressing charges. Because we do not press charges. We do not do what we are meant to do. If we did, and the statistics did show that yes, and I think that is where the silence has to end, that for every racial profiling, racial abuse, we must be able to go to the court system and seek redress correctly. Don't leave it. You press that neck, leave your leg on that neck. Don't let it go until you get what you're looking for. I have been in a situation whereby I was bitten by a dog. Yes, in this country, I was bitten by a dog. I went to pick up my son from school. And the police in question looked me right in the eye. I had to call my husband. Looked me right in the eye. After being bitten by a dog, the policeman in question looked me in the eye and said to me, "And is that why I'm calling?" It wasn't my dog. And when this happened, I was going through IVF. So you can imagine how my emotional state was. And luckily, I think his partner was able to understand exactly the faux pas that the bagger had committed and, came in immediately. But he told me that. I will never forget it. He told me that. He said, "And that is why I'm calling. Because I am supposed to call if I'm bitten by a dog. I am. It's part of what should happen." In the course of that period, I had to go back to the hospital. And while they said, "Well, there's nothing they can do. I have to take the rabies shots." I took the rabies shots, went to the IVF clinic, told them, they said, "Well, that's one." I went through the whole thing only for the whole medication was just a waste, everything, because it was too much. At that point, I just wanted to end it. It was too much for me. I was going through something. Yes. The police, yes. They are there. They are all in the midst. Is it surprising that most policemen are racist? Is it a surprise? And when I mean most policemen are racist, I mean, I'm not just talking about France, I'm talking about other countries. Is it a surprise? No. America is a very good example. We've got the US, we've got the UK. Is it a surprise? No. There's a reason why. And so, I end this on this note, that it is important that every form of racism, every form of bullying, il faut porter plainte. Il faut aller jusqu'au bout. Il faut pas laisser faire. Parce que ça, moi, je crois que ça, c'est le problème. Tant qu'on n'a pas fait le nécessaire auprès des forces d'ordre, au bon moment, tant qu'on n'a pas fait ça, il n'y aura rien. And it will continue. On this note, guys, like I said, leave your comments, leave your thoughts, leave your opinions in the comment section. I'll get back to you. Bye.